This series is made possible by the generous donation of Stiefel Financial and viewers like you. Thank you.
I'm the coordinator of Nevada County Veterinary Medical Disaster Response Team. I'm an RVT, and I've been doing this since '97 in the disaster field. Actually, before that, but that's when I got my cutting teeth with the floods. It's the first time we mobilized after the 49er fire. Registered veterinary technician. I'm a nurse for animals. Well, in depth, it's quite detailed, but if you wanted just a snapshot for people to really understand, is we're the Red Cross for animals. So we mobilize when the county tells us to, or CAL FIRE, or animal control. When they say we need you, we mobilize with the team, and then we start intaking the animals, and they have their food, their water, medical if they need their medical. Everything's free, no charge whatsoever for it. So basically we do the same thing as Red Cross does, except ours is four-legged most of the time, except for a couple of birds that may come in. And we take care of all animals that come in, except wildlife. We don't take care of wildlife. They have to have experts taking care of them. Well, as I said, the first one was in '97, the floods, and we weren't trained for floods and water. We were trained for fire. So that was quite an experience for us because we were drowning because we didn't know what we were doing, but we learned real fast. Lucky enough, we have some good veterinarians that helped teach us, because I was the trauma nurse. So I had to learn about flooding. And then we had the '97 fires. And then we were in our element because we knew what we were doing and how to handle it. And that's when I took over as coordinator from the original coordinator who was sick and couldn't continue with it. Our next big one, at the same time, we also took care of Placer County. Placer County now has their own unit, so we don't have to worry about that. But there was a lot of times, Stevens Fire was one of the biggest ones we took care of over there, and we had to do some rescue and get some burn animals out. And then they developed their own unity. Animal control took over. And then the next really big one, I would say, was low fire for us. We had little ones that we might end up taking in one animal. But the low fire was the next big one that we had to work, and we had a lot of animals come in. The last big one was the wind complex, and we had almost 600 animals come in. Most of them were horses, most of them were burnt, but we had a team of wonderful veterinarians there that would be there all day long treating these animals that came in. Had a couple of lacerations, had an abscess. So we're a MASH unit. Wherever we can, when we get the notification, we have to figure out, like we did for the wind complex, go to the fairgrounds, and the wind was pushing it the other direction, so it was semi-safe there. It had the wind blowing in another direction, we might not have been there. We might have had to have gone someplace else. But we try to go to the fairgrounds, because then we have our shelter, our food, we have our water, and that's what we want for the animals, so they're secure and safe. And the vets only really come up if we have critical need for them. Other than that, the vet, we call them if we have, like we had an abscess kitty, we called. And then they came in and took care of the abscess kitty. Other than that, since it was so big, vets normally don't stay there the whole time, but that was a pretty big incident. Lucky enough, every animal that's been brought in has got to go home with their owners or mom and dads. So we've only had, and it was the 97 fire that we had one animal that had to be boarded off site. That's because the owner was in the hospital and couldn't take care of it. So one of the team members took care of the dog until the owner got out of the hospital. But we have very strict security. They drive in, they meet a security person, they tell them where to park, what to do. Then they walk up, meet another security person, check in with them, and then they're sent over to our check-in unit, which checks the animals in, tags them, takes pictures of mom and dad with the animal, and then we house them, and we do tell mom and dad, please come back and visit, because it's important for the human bond to stay healed. Because just like the Paradise Fire, the campfire, people wouldn't take their animals into shelters because that's the only thing they had left. And it's understandable, and we encourage them to come and visit and walk their animal and be with their animal. We take lost and found, well, the found animals, and then we do it the same as we do as a regular check-in, except we put on top we found and the location that the animal was found. And then we have a microchip scanner, and we scan the animal to see if there's a microchip to help locate the owner. If it doesn't have a microchip, then we put it on media that an animal was found. We don't give the description of the animal because anyone can come and claim it. They have to describe the animal to us. And that's happened a couple of times for us. The Wind Complex, no, it wasn't the Wind Complex, I think it was the Low. We had a little pit bull baby come in. And it wasn't updated with the microchip, which is very important for people to do. And we took about a day before we could find the owners. And they came and got the baby and left, and they left the gate open and the baby disappeared again.
Oh, jeez.
So they were hoping the baby would come and visit with us because it had a good time with us. We have experts on our team. We have one gal that deals with dogs that are traumatized and the fear biters. We take an extra long time with them. We don't want to rush the animal, but if the animal's unsafe, then animal control will take the animal into a more safe environment. So maybe they won't be so scared. And they won't be euthanized, you know. So we try our best. I mean, I had the 97 floods. I had one person spend over 10 minutes trying to get this little dog out of the kennel because it was so scared. And that's why we also encourage mom and dad to come and visit, because they are scared. And the team is taught that just because mom and dad says, oh, we don't bite, we're scared. We're in a different environment. They don't understand what's going on. All of a sudden, we're not with mom and dad. Mom and dad was panicking, and they get scared.
Yeah.
So we take our time with those little ones that come in, or big ones. Some of the horses were the same way. Wait a second, I don't understand this. One of the most fun ones we had was a show pig. His name was Dave, and he was a lot of fun. It was a challenge because he kept rooting, trying to get out from underneath the stable. But he was a lot of fun. We had some Highland cattle come up, and the owner had to take care of them because the bull was like, sure, come on in. No, I don't think so. But the owner was there almost the whole time, anyways. And the owner liked the way we run things so much that he joined our team. So the Highland cattle was wonderful. And we had a couple of Belgians, and of course you already know how short I am, and I had to help with the Belgians because I had a foot problem. And so I kept asking the Belgium not to lift its head up because that'd be a flag. That's what I keep telling everyone. So, and we've had turkeys. The Wind Complex, we had more pigs, a turkey. We had alpacas, llamas, goats. The low fire, we had chickens. We have a gambit of what comes in. We never know what's going to come in until they show up. We have a team, and we tell everyone to meet us at the roadblock because we can't guarantee we can get across the roadblock. So if you meet us at the roadblock, hand us the animals, we'll mark it all down and get them to safety. We tell people to pony their animals out with their large animals if they have to. But we do have a team at the roadblocks. We try to have a team there. Now they may be gone because they're transporting animals, such as they did with the Wind Complex. We brought people in that weren't members to help with transporting these horses and getting them to safety. And the Wind Complex, we also helped with Sammy's friends because the fire got close to them. So we helped evacuate them. The animals stayed 5 minutes with us and got to go back home. We sent all of our kennels that wasn't being used to help with those animals. And our truck and trailers were coming back with loads of animals in the back end of the trailers. Not what they're supposed to be used for, but yeah, it worked. Yeah. We got them to safety. It's a controlled chaos, but yeah, there's chaos in there, especially when we have a large intake of animals show up. And then we're kind of running, trying to get them in their housing unit, settled, and then having to run back and forth. We work in teams, so there's always 2 people together to help with these different animals that come in. And we have small animal people, and we have the large animal people. The small animal people can help the large animal and vice versa, but basically they kind of stay unless they're needed. And then the small animal people, they do get taught. We have classes, and they do get taught how to deal with the large animals and what to watch out for. Because there's biters, there's kickers, and I'm scared, I'm nervous, you know. I had an instant volunteer with the Wind Complex that she joined because she went over to feed some horses, and the horse, they were having alpha problem. I know I'm going to get it. No, I'm going to get it. And one kicked and went between the slats of the gate, hit her. It lacerated its leg. She was okay, but she liked the way, again, how we dealt with things. Because we never know what's going to happen there.
No.
Volunteers, I love them. I love all of them. I may not know them all, but I love them all because they're hard workers. So if a volunteer has an expertise, I will try to use that expertise. I've had some that's been in law enforcement, they go, no, I'm not going to do law enforcement. That's my day job. I want to do something else. I have people that are good at paperwork, but won't do paperwork because that's my job. I do it all day long. I don't want to do it. Okay. So if they're small animals or if they don't know anything about large animals, we don't really want to put them in that situation because that can be too dangerous. So if a bunch of animals come in, if they're small animals, we kind of ask them if they're comfortable walking with dogs and, you know, taking care of the cats. They have to work as a team. I do have managers that take care of each unit. There's a small animal manager and large animal manager. And then a manager that oversees them, and then I oversee all of them. So But they're all hard workers. Some only want to do paperwork. And that's great. We sit them down, and that's their job. I have one volunteer that she sits down, everything starts running super, super smooth because she knows the paperwork. If instant volunteers come in, we try to put them in a position where, because we don't allow them to handle the animals because they haven't been trained how to handle the animals. Unless they have a good, if a rodeo person comes in and I know that that person deals with even cattle, then we might allow them to go over to the barn area and help out. But we try to keep only our trained volunteers to handle the animals to keep them safe. But we have a job for everyone. For a long time, we had a lady that was in a wheelchair and had severe arthritic hands. They were all crippled and stuff. She handled the phone and the paperwork. That was her job. And it went pretty good. So we have a job for everyone. You know, if they have a problem, health problem, we can work around it. You know, just this one lady, she even went to CPR classes. And she just says, well, this way I can't do it, but I can help talk someone through it. Very smart lady. She passed away, unfortunately.
Wow.
She did a wonderful job. So if there's someone that wants to volunteer and think because they have a limitation, don't worry about it.
What's your volunteer capacity at?
I would say we're around 100, but the ones that come to meeting, we're looking at 20 people that come to meetings, and those are the ones that are highly trained. Let's face it, everyone's working, and it's really hard. I have some veterinarians that are members, but they can't attend all the meetings because they're working and taking care of the little ones out there. Happy to. That's one of the jobs I do is go out and help educate the community. What they need to do first they need to prepare. They can't wait until the sheriff is going around saying, evacuate now. Can't do it. You need to prepare now. And now we've already had several fires. Small ones, escaped debris burns, stuff like that, but still, they were fires. They could have gotten nasty. They need to make an evacuation box up for the humans and the animals. Some animals have to have special food or medication, your thyroid, your heart medication, the special food for intestinal problems, kidney stones, whatever the case may be. They need to pack that food up for their animals in an evacuation box or backpack, whatever they want. Some people keep it in the car, some people keep it in the closet where you can find it in the dark. Because like the wind complex, it was 11 o'clock at night, I was down by the fairgrounds with CAL FIRE, and my house had no power. So if my husband had to evacuate, he would have to know exactly where everything is. So they need to have their medication for human and animals, food, water. If you have a kitty, they need their cat litter. You can make a cat box out of newspaper. So you need to be prepared beforehand. So this way, if you get the notice, you just pick up and you run. If you smell smoke, what they need to do, especially with small animals, is put the cats and dogs, small little dogs, in the bathroom. They can't hide on you. If you put them in the bedroom, they can hide and get underneath the bed, and you may not have time to get them out. And that's the worst feeling in the world. So if you put them in the bathroom, you know you're going to be able to find them if you smell the smoke. Listen to the local radio stations. They'll tell you where the fire is, or if you smell smoke, they'll tell you it's across the line, across the border, or something like that, location of it. But you put your small animals in there. Microchipping we recommend for the animals, all animals, because this way, if they've registered them, we can locate them, locate the animal owner, so this way they can get back to mom and dad. With the horses and large animals, if you have a truck and trailer, they should back up their trailers so that all they have to do is load the horses, and they have to decide whether to keep the truck hooked up or not. But pretty much ready to, because when adrenaline hits, it's very hard to back something up. And when you're looking, just like at the Paradise Fire, when you're looking at that scenario, your adrenaline is going to be pumping, and it's going to be very hard to back up. So if you have it backed up, ready to couple it, and then you can take off with your animals. And even with the horses, they need their medicine if they're on medicine. They need their feed. Now, what we do when they come to us, we give them maintenance unless they have to have a certain food. And then in which case we try to get that food in, and we will put a request out for that food. So say you only have a bag of ID to last your dog for a short amount of time. We will put it out that we need more ID and see if we can't get some coming in. And this community is absolutely wonderful. If we need anything, we get it, and we get it really fast. I mean, we put out the facts that we needed some grass hay, and we had this huge truck show up with this we were giving the hay away at the end of the fire to all the evacuees, which we do. Anything we have surplus, the evacuees get. So they get all the food. We dole it out to everyone. So you have to be prepared. You have to be ready, whether or not you have it in your truck or car. The only thing is make sure you don't have the bottled water, because it can leach out the toxin into the water. I tell my team members to have a canteen. So this way it won't go bad. You're going to want to refresh it. Say you make up your box now with all your medication and stuff like that. You don't have to evacuate. Next year at this time, you still have the same stuff. As soon as you get new medication, take the old out of the box and put the new in. This way you can rotate it and it stays fresh. You don't want to wait and try to use it and it's gone bad because it's been in the heat and stuff like that. Right. Defendable space. That's what it boils down to. Defendable space. If you don't know what that is, Fire Safe Council can help. The fire department can come out and help. Cal Fire has inspectors that go out and look. I'm a visiting nurse for animals, and I come across going into places that are very questionable, and I really look hard. And one of the things you need to also know, with the wind complex, with the traffic jam, just like Paradise, look to see where your exit roads are. Look at it. Okay, my house is here. Look on the map. Is there another way I can get out and get away from the congestion? Because some people lost their lives in Paradise because of the congestion. I had family up there, so I saw a lot of videos that they posted from what their experience was.
It was pretty horrific.
So, and this team went over there and helped out. We were instant volunteers, but we went over there and helped. Went up on the hill and tried to take care of animals up there. Well, if you have a horse, okay, let's go with the large animals, because the small animals, they're going to be inside the house. So the defensible space around the house is the same thing. If you have a pasture that's just nothing but dirt, you've got it made. It's not going to burn. For the horses and large animals, close the barn doors. Don't let them get back in, because they'll die of smoke inhalation. The barns aren't built like homes are. The homes have more insulation and ways to keep some of the smoke out. I'm sure with some of the big fires that's been around us, people can remember getting up and smelling smoke. But if you closed all the windows and everything like that, you keep it out. In the barn, it doesn't do that. It just seeps right on in. In the 49er fire, there was a big goat ranch and had defendable space all the way around. Dirt was in the field and stuff, but the animals ran into the barn because that's security for them. And they died because of smoke inhalation. So if we close that all off for the large animals, then you have a better chance of survival for the animals. They're better off in the smoke outside than the congestive smoke inside, because they don't have oxygen masks or anything like that for them.
Right.
Yeah, this smoke inhalation, and that was a hard lesson for me when I learned about that goat farm. I mean, I didn't know that. So we learned and started telling people, don't put them in the barn. And I don't recommend people going in there, the barn. Now, some of the fire personnel, CAL FIRE personnel, says that they would hide, go in the barn for a burnover, which is, you have to find safety now because you're in trouble. But I wouldn't because of the smoke inhalation. But they have oxygen, so that's understandable. But the normal layperson, we're not carrying oxygen tanks on our backs, or have oxygen on the truck where you can grab it and take off with it. The one thing they should not do is write your phone number on your horse. Don't make it visible. If you want to have an ID, and what I do with my horse is I take nail polish and I put it right underneath her mane. No one can see it, but here's proof of my horse, plus the fact I have a picture of my horse. So don't put phone number on hooves or on the body. Yes, it sounds nice. We learn lessons from other entities like us, and we've learned a lot of lessons from the East Coast. And they lost a lot of valuable animals because they put the phone number on the side of the animal, and someone would walk up, oh, my phone number is such and such. I put it there, and I can't find my horse. And guess what? They saw the phone number. Some people can retain it really good, and they walk off with the horse. And so we don't recommend that. Even though a lot of people do recommend it, I don't. I want each one of these little guys and big guys to go home with the proper owner. So that's the one thing they should not do. Yeah, they do that. They post it on the medias. They posted, I did a search on Google, and it was all over showing this. One of the members of our local government says, oh, I know, I'll just put the phone number. And I said to her, I says, no, you don't want to do that. She goes, really? And I explained, just like I did here. And that happens, A lot of times what happens, and I understand this, it's just because like now I'm trying to get all the winter off my horse, and she's still a little scrubby right underneath her mane. But sometimes, okay, it's the beginning of fire season, I'm just going to write my number down here and I'm safe. Yeah, in a way you are, if you're lucky enough that someone doesn't try to say, I like that animal, I want to take it with me. So, and usually the ones that are liked are the ones that are novel looking. They're your thoroughbreds, your very valuable animals, your purebreds. There's a lot of purebred dogs out here. We have a lot of people that show up here that show their dogs. And if they're not microchipped, they can take them. During the Wind Complex, we did have an animal come in, but they had the phone number on the side of it. Lucky enough, the owner brought it in, so we had a cross check situation going on. Because we don't just release the animal to anyone that may show up. Some of the mobile vets will microchip, yeah. We don't, we do a free clinic. We get sponsors and we do a free clinic once a year, as you saw. So it's kind of our way of giving back to the community. We're a nonprofit. We don't get paid for any of it. All the money that gives to us, we put in supplies and equipment that we may need to help with the animals. But there is mobile vets that will go out, and I'm sure a number of the horse doctors will microchip. The smaller animals, there's only a couple small vets that mobilize. Most of those have to be taken in. It's much easier for take them in to do it.
Either with me or somewhere.
The local radio stations will be putting it out. We do have, and I don't have the number with me, we do have a number that is activated only when we mobilize. No one should call my home, because if we mobilize, you're not going to get me. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be taking care of these babies that are coming in. So the local radio station can do it. If you need help, call the sheriff. If they have animals, animal control will be involved. Sometimes animal control will bring the animals in. And sometimes animal control will call us and say, okay, I need a truck and trailer or a car or whatever the case may be at such and such an area. And I'll meet you at the roadblock. It might. They're just now starting to really play around with Code Red. I do not know how we're being involved with the Code Red, except for the fact that we will know before the Code Red goes out that there's going to be evacuations. When Code Red hits, we're usually already on site, because I have a person that's what his job is to listen to the scanner. And he calls and lets me know that we have a fire. Even if it's across the border or county line, he'll call and say, okay, especially like in Dobbins, it's so close to our county line, I'll get a call, okay, there's a fire in this area, and we'll watch it to see how close it's getting to. And sometimes we do mutual aid, just like with the floods. We've done mutual aid with Butte and Yuba County a lot. So that's what his job is. So far, now if we had something hit like Paradise, yeah, we'll probably have it at a different location. If it hit something like Paradise, we might ask Placer County if we can use their fairgrounds. But we haven't had that experience yet. But that's called mutual aid, and so OES has to deal with that. I'm not responsible for that. I just would have to tell OES, our OES, county OES, this is what I need. Can you help?
Right.
I'd probably go toward Placer County if our county was in danger, because it's closer than going down to Yuba, because that's quite a ways down. And going over to Oroville, that's still quite a ways for our people, but they could if they wanted. But I'd probably use Placer County if I could.
Yeah.
But again, I have to have the okay with blessings of both OES counties. The 49er fire taught the community a lot. And it taught them that you needed to have a common goal, common language. The language between the agencies are still not gelling quite right, because the terminologies are different. And then when the Oakland Hills fire hit, they really learned a lot at that time. I'm not privy to all that they learned, but I know that that's when SIMS started up, and that's the Standardized Emergency Management System. And that's when that started up. So this way, basically everyone can talk to each other, but we still learn the terminologies. Like my team, I have two other major players, liaison and the head of management for the animals. We go to the different meetings. We learn the different terminologies. We learn, everything that's going on. And every year we learn something new. I mean, we go to the briefings for CAL FIRE when there's a fire. And so we know where the fire head is. We know which way it's going, which way it's being threatened. We find out where the roadblocks are. We work with all the different agencies out there, and they're really, now that the team has established itself, we started clear back at 49er fire, but it didn't get the roots into the system until after 97. And that's when we started getting our roots in the system. And now they see us coming, and they see the purple shirts. And I drove up to one site, and of course I have my magnet signs on the back on my truck. And I thought the officer was going to hug me because I showed up. Oh, you're here! Says, yeah, we're here for you. I do know, when I was up there a number of times because of family, people weren't, just like here in this county though, people aren't keeping their properties up. Lots of fuel ladders, a lot of dense trees and dead branches and pine needles, and it just takes a short amount of time for it to go, and especially when the wind's blowing as hard as it was. And it could happen here, and that's what happened with the wind complex. The wind was blowing hard. Yes, McCourtney had electrical. I do not know about the Lobo area. Never got word about that, but I was too busy to really find out. So McCourtney, I saw it, so it was kind of easier to know what was going on that one. But we're here to help, and if there's any questions, I'm all for people to give me a call, and I will help do them. We also have a new program we started up, and it is for people that need help. If they call, or if they show up to one of the sites that we're sitting there giving information out, and fill out a form, they fill out their name, their address, their animals, and that's telling us that these people need help. So if the fire's in that area, one of the things that happens is I call and say, there's a fire in your area, but it's not bad right now. So you could start preparing in case you have to. If the fire is bad, then I try to send a team out to that address because they've already said they needed help. So we do have that new program we've started up. Yeah, it's a form, their name, address, because let's say even people working, and they're working 8 hours and the fire hits, we can get someone to get there. And they're giving us permission then to get into the house, however means it has to be, or get whatever animals are on the property. And they tell us where the animals are on the property. I have one lady that every year she calls me. She goes, I'm still around. She tells me the name of her horse. I said, okay. And I have a special team that's going to go out and get that horse, because the horse, from what I understand, can be a little cantankerous sometimes. And so I have a special team that will handle that. But they give me their name, phone number, and then I get on a map, highlight the area, the road they're on, and then I put their name and say needs help. And then they go back in our binder with our members under the folder saying needs help, and so this way we can pull it out anytime that this person may need help, whether they're seniors and can't get out, whether they're working, whatever the case may be. I mean, a lot of people are working.